what do you think you want to do when you graduate from high school someday? Would you go to college, or would you just want to...
Well, yeah, I go to college, but I'm trying to get into my singing career and my acting career,
so... You sing too?
Yeah.
Hi, my legends. Welcome back. This is a bit of a different video for me today. I just wanted to try something new. We're going to be talking about what happened to Selena Gomez and the Scene. I don't know if I'm the only one that was obsessed with Selena Gomez and the Scene as like a 10-year-old, but I was one of those kids. And Selena Gomez and the Scene has always had a chokehold on me. I've always gone back to listen to their songs and watching their music videos, so I thought we'd dive into this today. I've not seen anyone else do a video on Selena Gomez and the Scene, so I thought, why not? So if you're a fan, or if you just want to put this on in the background whilst you do some chores, do some homework, if you want to just clean your house to this, feel free. So we've got the start, 2008, 2009, The Formation. The first episode of Wizards of Waverly Place aired on October 12th, 2007, and instantly Disney had a hit on their hands. I don't need to be the first one to tell you that. The pilot episode was watched by over 5.9 million viewers. So not only did Disney have a hit, they had a rising star, Selena Gomez. Audiences loved her, teens loved her. She had all the teens around the world ready to sell their soul for her. They wanted to see what she would do next. I was one of them. Selena Gomez had me in a chokehold. Still does. Disney knew her audience would eat up any new content she put out, so they wasted no time in pushing Selena Gomez into a music career. And even in her Disney audition when she was just 11 years old, she spoke about her dreams of becoming a singer as well as an actress. Now this is when Disney's alter ego, Hollywood Records, came into play. They knew what they had to do. They had to sign Selena ASAP, and they were right for doing so because they were about to make history. When Selena signed her first record deal, she was only 16 years old. You can actually watch this on her YouTube channel. It's like Selena Gomez episode 1 of like this little vlog series she does. We'll be referencing that throughout this video, especially for this first portion. But it's really interesting. You can see her sign the contract, and my God, was that a fat contract. I hope someone read through it for her, because I know at 16 I would not have understood what I was signing. I'd have just been excited to sign a contract for a record deal. So I hope she wasn't screwed over. Selena Gomez first announced plans of forming a band in 2009. She said that Paramore was one of her inspirations for her decision to start a band. And honestly, girl boss, she knew what was up. Originally, Selena stated in an interview with MTV News that she wasn't going to be a solo artist and that she didn't want her name attached to it. She also mentioned this on her YouTube channel. She wanted to be in a band. She wanted to be different. No, I'm not making fun of her. Those are her words. This was 2009 after all. Being different was it, okay? Later on, Selena announced on Twitter that her band would be called The Scene, which I don't know how true this is. Apparently it was a jab at people telling Selena she was a wannabe Scene, aka the Scene era, the Scene group we know from like the 2000s. Think side fringes, coloured hair, skinny jeans. And if you're still confused between the difference between maybe Scene and emo, think of it as emo is internal, Scene was external. At least that's my understanding of it, correct me if I'm wrong. However, in regards to being called The Scene, Hollywood Records made it known they did not want Selena to have like a band ghost name, as she already had such a strong fan base. I mean, I was a ride or die, I would have done anything for her at that age. And that's how the name eventually came to be Selena Gomez and The Scene, because that's what's kept the label happy and Selena happy. The band was formed through a long and exhausting audition process. They had a revolving door of guys coming in to play their instruments as a band so that Selena could get a little vision of what her band could be and who she would want in this band. And during the audition process, Selena, her mum and her stepdad, and I'm going to assume there also had to be a representative for Hollywood Records at the audition process. Anyway, all of them sat and watched as all of these men came in to audition to be in The Scene. Selena stated herself that she would like all guys in the band. She said, "I'm looking for someone who's very passionate about music and can show me that they can rock out. I like having people with me to lean on and write with and have fun with." So at the end of this audition process, we finally found the band, The Scene. The original lineup was Selena on vocals, Ethan Roberts on lead guitar and backing vocals, Greg Garman on drums, Joey Clement on bass guitar. His hair was iconic. I'm pretty sure he also did backing vocals too, although nowhere really states that he did. But I'm pretty sure he did. And then finally we had Nick Foxer on keyboard and backing vocals. If you want to watch the audition process, you can see it over on Selena Gomez's channel. Again, it's on like her little vlog series she posted when she was a lot younger, and it was on episode 4 of the vlog series. You have to go back like 9 years to get this, but it is there. Shortly after the band was formed though, Nick Foxer left because If you are a long time Selena Gomez and the Scene fan, you may have been confused as to who Nick Foxer was, maybe thinking I didn't do the research properly, or that who is this man? You wouldn't be wrong to feel that way. He left basically, I think around the time the first record came out or just before it. He was barely associated with the scene. I don't even know he was in like many performances. No one knows why he left. He just did. He dipped. But that meant he was then replaced by Dane Forrest and Icon. I think he still also did backing vocals for Selena. If you look in performances, I'm pretty sure all three mansies do backing vocals for her, at least at some point. I couldn't find the ages of all the men in the band. I knew they were older than her. I mean, they look it. But I could only find the ages for Greg and Joey. So Greg was 23, 24 and Joey was 29. Selena at this time was like probably 16, 17. So there was a big age gap between them and I guess where they were in their lives. And I'm assuming the other two men, Nick and Ethan, were around the same age as well, of like in their mid-20s. But now that the band is formed, we are now in the Kiss and Tell era. This was 2009 to 2010 and we're going to jump straight into it. Kiss and Tell was the band's debut studio album and it was released on September 29th, 2009. Interestingly enough though, the Scene aren't credited on the album at all. And this is something you will notice as we continue to talk about their other album and like all their work as a band. None of them recorded on the album though. That was a completely different set of musicians, or it was done electronically, I'm not quite sure. But I know it wasn't Joey, Ethan, or Greg, or Dane. They went on the album, at least not this one. And I'm pretty sure they're not on any of them. They were more of just like a facade. Good for them. Get that money. They were just there for like the live performance purposes and just there to like give Selena her sea legs so she felt comfortable being on stage. As well as that though, the Scene aren't on like any of the album covers. And Selena had already recorded, I believe, most of the album before the band had even formed. Speaking of the album, all of the songs minus one were written without Selena. The only song she did co-write was I Won't Apologise, and it is rumoured to have been written about Nick Jonas. And look, we're not going to make this bit about a mansie. Like, good for her. Maybe it's about Nick Jonas, maybe it's not. But that was the era of like the Nick Miley thing. But we got to give credit where credit is due. I Won't Apologise is pretty well written for a first song for a teenager. I was listening to it earlier today and still holds up, still a bop. This album is still such a bop. I think it's their second best work. Don't come for me. Filming for Selena Gomez and the Scene's first music video, Falling Down, started on August 15th, 2009. The video was directed by Chris Dooley, and the schedule for the day, it started at 7:30 a.m. for Selena's glam team. Selena was scheduled to be on set for 8 a.m. and then her band was scheduled at 10 a.m. It was only a one-day shoot, so nothing that extensive. And I mean, it's not like the most elaborate music video ever, it's pretty simple. You can see why it only took a day. The day started with them getting Selena's single shots without the band, just her. These shots were of her with a geometrical kind of background, the LED screen behind her, and then they got like the photo shoot set. And then obviously after they got all of those, they then called in the Scene and they got to come in for the performance piece of the music video. It's what they did best. Arrive for the performance part, because they were barely in it normally. It's kind of wild though how quickly they put everything together, from filming to editing to releasing within 13 days. Isn't that sort of unheard of now? Like, to me that just seems really quick. Maybe I'm stupid, maybe that is how music videos are still done today, but that just seems so almost rushed. I don't know. Now, whoever was marketing Selena's music, genius. I mean, it was like Disney behind this all because it was Hollywood Records after all. But the music video premiered on Disney Channel after Wizards of Waverly Place, the movie, on August 28th, 2009. It became available for purchase on iTunes Store the next day, but let's just... iconic. The amount of people you would have viewing the movie, and then to premiere her music straight after, they really set a girly up for success. Like, that was iconic behaviour. They were not going to let a girly flop. Whilst Falling Down was the main single for this album, Naturally was considered this album's official single, as it was basically their big break and their big breakout single as a band. It peaked inside the top 10 of the charts. For instance, it achieved this in the UK. Big up. Woo, we did something right. The artwork for Kiss and Tell had two different album covers. The European cover had the darker version, I'd call it. I don't know. It was Selena in like a black top with jewelry and she had the red spots behind her. I love the album. I have that album. I couldn't find it, but I have that album with that cover. And I remember when I was younger, I really wanted the USA album cover with like that glittery lipstick she had like the heart-shaped one. I really wanted that when I was younger, but now that I'm older, I really do like the European album cover a bit more. Although the USA album cover with like the makeup was iconic. Kiss and Tell was a predominantly pop rock album. It was very normal for a Disney Channel star to release a pop rock album as their first album. Take Miley Cyrus and Demi Lovato as an example here. But Kiss and Tell also incorporated other styles of music, such as dance music. I would say it's predominantly pop rock. And I think that's where it thrived the most, I won't lie. And of course, I've just done it, and it's inevitable for this to be done, but Kiss and Tell the album was compared to releases by fellow Disney stars Miley Cyrus and Demi Lovato. It's gonna happen, you know. In response to this, Selena stated, "The Jonas Boys and people like Demi Lovato are my friends, so I definitely would not copy or do anything that they did." Safe to say, the album was met with mixed reviews. Some praised the album for its fun nature, and others criticised Selena's vocal ability. What's new here? But in my opinion, none of the criticism mattered, as Kiss and Tell debuted at number 9 on the Billboard 200 in the US. It was later certified gold in the country for sales exceeding 500,000 copies, and it was successful in other territories such as Greece and Poland, where it entered the top 10, and the UK, where it entered the top 20. I think we could have done a bit better. Like, it's a bit of flop behaviour that we only got it in the top 20, not the top 10, but hey ho, I guess it was a debut album, so I didn't do too bad for that at all. The band promoted the album by going on numerous televised performances on shows such as Season 9 of Dancing with the Stars, The Ellen DeGeneres Show, Late Night with Jimmy Fallon, among other shows, and Disney Channel definitely played a hand in marketing this album. During the ad breaks, they would play the music videos for Falling Down and Naturally, and oh, were those the times to be alive. I was bopping along. Radio Disney, rest in peace legend. Although it doesn't make a difference to me because we didn't have that in the UK and I felt so like disrespected. I remember when I was a child, all I wanted to do was listen to Radio Disney, but we never got to listen to Radio Disney. Anyways, rest in peace. But Radio Disney would also frequently play their songs, as was common for them with any of their new artists' releases. Now, I wouldn't have really expected this. I don't know why, it just doesn't seem like it fit for a Disney Channel star, especially in like 2009, because I feel like MTV was all about reality TV. But anyway, I know they were big on music. But anywho, MTV also wanted to promote Selena Gomez and The Scene by making them a part of their Push series. For anyone who isn't familiar with MTV Push, it's a segment on MTV's channel where they would promote up-and-coming artists by playing like a clip from a live performance taped for MTV Push specifically during ad breaks of their shows, or they would just post like little interview moments from the band just so you could get to know them a little bit. At least they do that now. So like a couple years ago, they promoted people like Olivia Rodrigo, Madison Beer, Billie Eilish, The Wallows. So just you get a gist of the kind of talent they promote and how it still happens today. It's still a thing, MTV Push. Even I remember seeing Doja Cat a couple years ago on MTV Push as I was watching Catfish. But for Selena Gomez and The Scene, they performed Kiss and Tell, The Way I Loved You, Naturally, Tell Me Something I Don't Know, and Falling Down. Now, the performances for MTV Push that they did aren't anything special, but they were cute and it's nice to look back on. You kind of have to do some digging to find them. If you'll want, I'll put like links in the description so you can watch it too. I thought it was really adorable to watch. Yeah, I thought the MTV Push performances were quite cute. Anyways, moving on. They had our girlie out here hustling to promote this album. They had her going all over Europe. I feel like artists don't really do that anymore. Like, it's all just digital. Like, they don't actually go out there to promote albums anymore. But Selena was booked and busy. They had her doing album signings in Spain, France, and London. I don't know if it happened anywhere else, but that's all I could find. In Madrid, on like March 30th, she did an outdoor album signing. I'm not sure if this is the same for every single one of her album signings, but for this one, she only had a 1-hour time slot to meet as many fans as possible. And good lord, was the line long. I kind of forgot how famous Selena Gomez was, especially back in like 2009 in her prime, if we want to call it that. That must have been a lot of pressure on her shoulders, not wanting to upset fans, having them be disappointed because some fans were waiting from like 5 a.m. But then she's also got a schedule and can only sign for an hour, so I can't imagine having to do that and have that weight on your shoulders at such a young age. Especially when your fan base at that point is so young, you really wouldn't want to disappoint them. And I'm pretty sure there's an interview clip where she kind of like broke down a little bit over the fact that she feels like she couldn't give back enough to her fans at this time in her life.
I can just go on a stage for an hour and sign as many autographs as I can, and they're okay with that. And me just doing that is good enough. I don't feel like that's enough. They're amazing.
And then later in April, she did another signing in London, in the HMV store on Oxford Street. Rest in peace to that HMV store, it's no longer there, which I think is tragic because that's also where I met R5, but besides the point. And at this signing, she also did a performance with The Scene. Us Londoners were treated well that day. She performed Falling Down and Naturally, but I don't know what else they would have performed at this time because they didn't have an album out, they only had the singles. So there you go, you could have guessed it because I said, hi guys, let's guess what song they performed. Eee. But basically my point is they had a girlie going all over Europe to do album signings for promo. I'm not sure the Scene followed her to all of the album signings or if it was just the London one where she also had them there with her to do the performances. But in all the photos it's only her doing the signings because I mean it was Selena Gomez's band and it was known as that and it was only her like face on the cover art. But imagine having a Disney girlie doing this nowadays. One, I don't know if they have the same impact Selena Gomez had, and two, everything is digital now. I know it's probably tiring for artists and celebrities to do this though, so I get why we no longer do like album signing tours, but I do miss this era of album signings and meet and greets. I think it was a really fun time to be alive. However, I do think there's two artists right now that could make this kind of impact from Disney, and that'd be Sabrina Carpenter and Olivia Rodrigo. Let's go girlies. I'd show up to their signings if they did one. But let's jump into a little bit of a moment that was a little bit insane. And that was the Paris signing. Selena didn't even get to do the whole signing before it was shut down. And she was asked to leave to ensure the safety of her fans as things got a little out of hand, and that's to put it nicely. The barriers broke, fans were throwing shirts on the floor, and basically everyone was getting squished in the store and it was becoming a major safety issue. It wasn't safe. Selena knew it, her stepdad knew it, and security knew it. It wasn't safe for Selena, it wasn't safe for the fans, and it probably wasn't safe for security either, or anyone around the area. Imagine how insanely famous though she was at this age. And now I've said that already, and I'm repeating it again because if you watch the footage in her Girl Meets World series on her YouTube channel, it's unfathomable how famous she was at that age. And you can definitely see how this could be, again, so overwhelming to handle, especially as she was only 17 herself at the time. She really was the it girl. I just want to note as well though that promoting the album wasn't the only target or main purpose of this specific event. Selena was also signing up at this event to promote her clothing line in that store. So after all of this promo, the girlie, going back and forth here and there across Europe, they also promoted the album with the band's first tour, Selena Gomez and The Scene, live in concert. It was a US and UK tour. Let me stress the US part. Saying it's a UK tour is a bit of a stretch. Anyway, it started November 15th, 2009 and it ended October 10th, 2010. Now I know that seems like a very long tour for only the US and UK, but that's because between some dates they took months off. I mean, Selena was probably filming for like Wizards or whatever. She was booked and busy, let's put it that way. She probably didn't have time to be touring every single day and she was young. So there were only a couple performances a month. That's why it stretched out just under a year. The opening acts for this tour though were none other than the Bad Boys JLS and Helmet Hair Mitchell Musso, aka Oliver Oaken on Hannah Montana, if you weren't aware. I just want to say though, those at Springfield that got to see Mitchell Musso sing Welcome to Hollywood should consider themselves blessed. This song is a bop, argue with the wall, I am jealous. I wish I was there. The setlist that they had chosen for this concert was just bop after bop. The setlist for leg 1 of the tour was Kiss and Tell, Stop and Erase, Crush, Naturally, I Won't Apologize, More, The Way I Loved You, I Want It That Way, Backstreet Boys cover, I Don't Miss You At All, Tell Me Something I Don't Know, Falling Down, Hot and Cold, Katy Perry cover, and the encore was I Promise You and Magic. The setlist for leg 2 was Round and Round, Crush, Kiss and Tell, More, You Belong With Me Taylor Swift cover, they really won there on leg 2, I Won't Apologize, The Way I Loved You, A Year Without Rain, I Don't Miss You At All, Hot and Cold, Falling Down, Love Is a Battlefield, Pat Benatar cover, In My Head, Jason Derulo cover, and Tell Me Something I Don't Know. Again, the encore was Naturally and Magic. Selena also covered Biddy Biddy Bom Bom by Selena on this tour at San Antonio, where Nick Jonas was spotted in the crowd. Not that it really matters, but fun fact. And she also performed Biddy Biddy Bom Bom at Houston. She may have also performed this song at other dates on this tour, but I know for sure she performed it at these two. Leg 2 just got more in general because Leg 1 only had 14 songs in total performed, whereas Leg 2 had 16. I would just say the Leg 2 setlist was better because they had songs like Round and Round and A Year Without Rain. Also the cover of You Belong With Me. The girlies really won. I didn't even know they were that friends for that long, Taylor and Selena. But anyway, the outfits at this concert were interesting. Let's say they were very Disney Channel, which isn't the worst thing, but you know what I mean when I say Disney Channel. And it makes sense that they kept her very PG, very Disney Channel, because one, she was underage, two, she was the Disney Channel it girl, and yeah, I mean, there were some cute looks. There were lots of skirts and sparkly, shiny tops. Sequins were really a theme for this tour, like the look they were going for. And I'm not here to hate. Look, they were alright. I mean, Selena could wear a trash bag and it'd probably look great on her. You know, the sequin dress at Springfield though, again, Springfield, you guys really won. It was definitely a cuter look than some of the other concert outfits they had her wear. I think her last date, sadly, is maybe the biggest flop. I just don't think the skirt is that much of a serve. It's just not for me, okay? The band also contributed to Disney's All Wrapped Up Volume 2. It was for like the Disney Channel Christmas special album thing. They did the EP thing. It included Selena Gomez and the Scene's cover of Winter Wonderland, as well as Christmas covers by other artists such as the Jonas Brothers. Now, you could argue this was also promo for the band, and to some extent, yeah, it got their name out there even more. I don't know how popular these Disney wrapped up albums were, although I'm sure these albums' impacts were much bigger back in the day, because I don't think many people are streaming them now, or if Disney make them anymore. Their single Falling Down was also promoted and featured on Radio Disney Jams Volume 12, along with songs by other popular artists. Jams 12 was officially released on March 30th, 2010. Now we're jumping back to November 2009, just a day before their tour started. This was when filming for their second music video naturally began. The video premiered on Disney Channel following the premiere of Phineas and Ferb Christmas Vacation on December 11th, 2009. This music video was also directed by Chris Dooley. Big up my man. On this day as well, they also released the music video for digital download. Remember when that was a thing? Like, that was a big thing. Like, you could buy it on iTunes and it was so exciting to be able to watch it again and again when, like, you went on holiday and travelled or whatnot. I mean, we can still do it, but it's just not the same because you can download things, you can just stream, you can use your 4G. So I wonder if music videos make money anymore really on iTunes, because I can't imagine buying it. It's so widely accessible in other means. I will say though that this music video was a lot more colourful than Falling Down. I remember as well in Selena's like YouTube channel vlog, she even mentioned she was concerned in Falling Down that it was a bit too grey and modern, and she wanted it to still be fun and have like purples in it. So yeah, this music video was a lot more colourful. It was definitely a lot more what Selena was happy with for her fans. She always wanted it to be more colourful for the fans, as I think she was aware that her demographic at this point was a lot younger, so they'd want like brighter images to look at. The scene are still included in this video, but they aren't a big factor of it. Hollywood Records was still trying to push this as a Selena Gomez project, as we continue to see throughout all of this. They'd say it's the scene, but I mean, majority of the time it's just Selena Gomez. Selena said, "This video is very different from any other video that I've done," and she added, "It has a lot more fierce clothes and a lot of fun colours." The single debuted at number 39 and later peaked at number 29 on the Billboard Hot 100 and has peaked at number 18 on the Canadian Hot 100. The single beat out Falling Down, and it's the band's biggest hit to date. It's also their first number one hit on the Billboard Hot Dance Club Songs. Naturally was also very popular in Hungary, where it peaked at number 4 on the singles chart, which was also the song's highest peak. It became the band's first top 5 hit anywhere in the world, and the single was later certified platinum by the RIAA. Is that how you say it? I don't know. But it got certified for sales exceeding 1 million copies in the US on July 15th, 2010. That's a really impressive thing, you know, and yeah. That kind of brings the Kiss and Tell era to a close, and now we are into 2010, the A Year Without Rain era. A Year Without Rain was the band's second studio album, and work on it began in 2010. This album was more mature than the previous record, as Selena was now 18. However, Selena still said she wanted the music to be fun and appropriate. She didn't want to do anything crazy. Fun little fact for anyone who wants a fun fact. I like throwing out a fun fact. Katy Perry was a collaborator on this album, having written on the song Rock God, iconic song. I think she also contributed to other albums of Selena Gomez and the Scenes. Due to the single naturally being such a breakout hit for the band, they naturally moved from the rock pop sound into more of a dance pop sound. Personally, I prefer the sound of Kiss and Tell. I like the pop rock sound. I think it really worked well for Selena's vocals, and I really enjoyed it actually. No more scene edgy Selena. It was now time for the mainstream kind of pop star sound that, let's be honest, the record company probably wanted from the beginning. But hey ho, I mean, A Year Without Rain's still a great album. It's not my favourite though, but it's still got some bops. Filming for Selena's third music video, Round and Round, started in late May 2010, and this time it was not directed by Chris Dooley. This video was filmed in Budapest, as that's where Selena was on location filming for Monte Carlo. Iconic movie, if I may say so myself. It truly feels like a girl, though, never caught a break. They had her hustling day after day, night after night. I hope she was okay during this time. They really were just throwing her into every project. I mean, her manager kept her booked and busy, but I don't know, that's healthy at that age. Moving on though, the album A Year Without Rain was released on September 17th, 2010. Yeah, A Year Without Rain actually had two versions, the standard album and the deluxe album. Personally, I think the cover art for the deluxe album is absolutely stunning and it's underrated and not enough people talk about it. Yeah, I just wanted to add that because I even forgot to talk about it and I feel awful that I forgot to talk about it because I love that cover. Anywho, back to me blabbing. Again, as I said, the album continues in the style of Naturally, which definitely follows the fun vibe Selena wanted the album to follow. Also, let's note that, once again, the Scene is credited nowhere on the album, as they were just a performance band. Now, that doesn't negate their talent at all, but it's just acknowledging that they had no hand in the behind-the-scenes work. I mean, I even have the album here. I couldn't find my other albums, which makes me really sad, because I moved like 3 times or 4 times in the past 2 years, so I've lost things, but they're somewhere. The only album I could find that I had was this one, and sadly it's like my least favourite. I'd have much preferred to have found my Kiss and Tell or When the Sun Goes Down album. This is the album, but at least the Scene are on the back of it. I don't know if they're on the back of When the Sun Goes Down either. I'm pretty sure When the Sun goes Down, it's just blank on the back, and it may be the same for Kiss and Tell. Either way, they made it onto the back of this. Good for you guys, you did it. In an interview with Z100 New York, Selena said that the album would feature some songs that did not make it onto Kiss and Tell, and she also said the rest of the Scene would be much more included on this album. I'm not calling a girlie a liar, but I don't know how true that is, because I don't see them credited anywhere. They didn't have any writing credits or producing credits on the album. I mean, they aren't even featured on the cover art. They're on the back of the album, but that's about it. Although once we get to the Round and Round music video, maybe that's what she meant, but we'll get to that eventually, not right now. In regards to the album, Selena said she was really proud of this record. It's very different and kind of shows our growth a little bit in music. I think if anything, the lyrics are more powerful in a way. She dedicated the album to us, her fans, to thank everyone for their support. Sadly, this wasn't my favourite album. Anyway, no hard feelings. In terms of sales, it didn't make much of more of an impact than Kiss and Tell, but that's not saying it didn't do well. Kiss and Tell, it debuted on the US Billboard 200 at number 4, with sales over a little 66,000. And hey, debuting at number 4 for your second album? The impact she had, I'm just saying, at that age, at 18. I think more credit is due there. Later, just like Kiss and Tell, A Year Without Rain was certified by the RIAA for selling over 500,000 copies in the US. Now, a little bit of controversy, just mild controversy, just a sprinkle, just a little bit of dust. But people picked up on the use of autotune on the album with Selena's vocals. Look, I mean, is this a bad take? I don't know, but I don't think it's that big a deal to use autotune in the producing of an album. Now, upon re-listening to the A Year Without Rain album back-to-back, in track order, in any order, I do now realise that the use of autotune and effects on Selena's voice was very present. It definitely was over the top, and now I do get the criticism just a little bit. However, I still stand by my point that a little bit of autotune here and there isn't hurting anyone. Like, most artists that you listen to have used it at some point in their music. Like, it's just in music. It's an effect. It doesn't mean someone can't sing, it's just an effect that you can use. I feel like almost every artist uses it in their music at some point. It doesn't mean they can't sing. Either way though, because of this, the album got some mixed reviews. Again, like Kiss and Tell, it received moderate success. But again, pretty good for a Disney pop star, and I'm gonna say, again, she deserves more credit. Number 4, debut. I think she was popping off left and right. On June 18th, 2010, the record's first single, Round and Round, premiered, and then 2 days later, the music video premiered. And correct me if I'm wrong, but this is now where I think she meant that the scene were a bit more incorporated in maybe like the making of the music videos, because this is like the most screen time they've ever seen in a Selena Gomez music video. Like at the beginning, is that not Joey passing the briefcase to Selena? I feel like I recognise that head of hair. And then the one picking her up in the car, is that not Dane? If that's not him, then he definitely is the waiter giving her like the cup of coffee, like past the halfway mark in the video. And Ethan can be seen in the video exchanging like files or just words with Selena at some point, like both of them being the agents they are. And also, oh my goodness, this has to have been like Ethan's time to shine, his debut as an actor, because he was serving, especially at the end when he's telling Selena to run the other way, you know, he's like leaning over that ledge. Icon behaviour. The only band member I couldn't spot in the video was Greg. Maybe I blinked and missed him, but what was up with that? Imagine if he had filmed scenes for the music video and they just like cut him out. I mean, I'm stirring the pot for nothing. But anyways, this music video was definitely a turning point for the scene, as now they weren't just a part of the performance piece of the music video, they were now actually being incorporated into the storyline piece of the music video. And another side note though, just wanted to say Selena was kind of a talented legend for running down those stairs in her high heels, because I can barely walk on a flat ground. Moving on, 4 days later, the single was released. The song was certified gold in the US, meaning it sold over 500,000 copies. It debuted at number 24 on the Billboard Hot 100, 76 on the Canadian Hot 100, and it also debuted at number 15 on the Billboard Hot Digital Songs chart. The UK was kind of flop behaviour though, because we only debuted at number 47. But anyways, you know, that's another fight for another day with the UK. So this single did better than Falling Down from the Kiss and Tell era. If you want to just, you know, another fun fact out there, just throwing another one out there. On July 13th, I know I'm throwing so many numbers out at you and I apologise if that's annoying, but I like to know dates. I like to know the timeline. So on July 13th, Selena Gomez and the Scene's song Live Like There's No Tomorrow was released as a single from the movie Ramona and Beezus. See, I was such a big fan of Selena, I even read the book after watching the movie. Honestly though, I don't really have any memory of this song, whereas all of the other Scene's discography I have in my back pocket, but this one? I had no memory of it whilst writing at least the script for this. I would say now though, I did go back just before filming this and listen to Live Like There's No Tomorrow, and bop. I can't believe I forgot it. As soon as I heard it, I just like could hear all the lyrics in my head again, and I was like, oh, I remember this song. If I hadn't gone back to listen to it, I could not have told you that this was even a song by The Scene, and I wouldn't have been able to tell you what album it was on. I would have definitely known it wasn't on When the Sun Goes Down. The song was kind of a flop in regards to charting anywhere, as it failed to chart on any major charts worldwide. Now we're going to talk about one of my favourite Selena Gomez and The Scene music videos, and that is the A Year Without Rain music video. Filming for A Year Without Rain took place in the early morning. Selena left at 3 a.m. to be driven for 2 hours out into the California desert to make it for her 5 a.m. cool time. She even said herself that she slept on the way there because she was so tired. The day started with getting shots of just Selena singing in her beautiful brown dress, and then the shots of Selena and The Scene driving in the car. Fun fact, love a little fun fact, but Joey was actually the one driving, and he did actually do the driving. It wasn't like harnessed to a rig or anything. He was driving out in the desert. But after they got all these shots, everyone then got to break for a 1 hour lunch. Once lunch was over, they got straight back into filming, and they jumped right into the Polaroid like photograph moment she has in the video, where all of the photos of relationships are flying like around Selena and over her. And then they shot the iconic rain scene. To be fair, Selena also said she was excited to do the rain because I'm hot and that will cool me down. I mean, they're out in the desert in California, of course it's going to probably be scorching. Now, ooh, the bi panic this video gave me. I should have known something was up, but A Year Without Rain. Oh, the masterpiece this video is. The dress, the rain, the hair. And you know what icon was back to direct? Chris Dooley. He was back from the grave. He was here again to slay another day. But oh my god. Oh my goodness though, the impact. The big wigs at Disney really had their thinking caps on, because they premiered the music video for A Year Without Rain straight after Camp Rock 2 The Final Jam.
It's a double world premiere. The newest music video from Hannah Montana, Que Sera, and Selena Gomez's latest, A Year Without Rain. Following a world premiere of Camp Rock 2 The Final Jam, Friday at 8/7 Central on Disney Channel.
Not only was this great because they had loads of people tuned in to Camp Rock, as it had such a big fan base, me included, but everyone knew Demi and Selena were like besties. I don't know if that's still held up at this time period, but I'm pretty sure they were still considered that. So you best bet they had a whole ass audience lined up to hear their new song. And look, oh my goodness, they had a total of 7.9 billion people sat on their little asses ready to watch Camp Rock. And connected with that, A Year Without Rain, the music video. Ooh, the exposure they got with that, and the way this music video was so iconic. I think it's still my favourite Selena Gomez and the Scene music video ever. I just think it was done so well, and it looks so beautiful, and ooh, does she look amazing in that music video. After the release though of the music video, the A Year Without Rain single was released, and it was the second single for the album. Kind of funny, it wasn't the main single, like the lead single. But maybe they decided not to, because technically it is more of a ballad than like a fun pop song. But hey ho, that still holds up now. Like, that is one of those songs that is kind of timeless. 3 months later though, they released the Spanish version of A Year Without Rain, Un Año Sin Lluvia. I just know I really butchered that, and I'm so sorry. I took Spanish in school, but it meant nothing, clearly. Also a note to add though, the A Year Without Rain tour was announced on September 10th on the band's official website. In regards to the album though, as of 2020, it has sold an estimated 817,000 copies in the US, and that's just the US. So we're talking big numbers here. Like, I wonder if that many album copies are sold these days, because no one really buys albums anymore, we just stream. Anywho though, the rest of the promotion for this album though consisted of televised performances and concerts. They kind of left Round and Round to get the meh shows, because they promoted that on like America's Got Talent, Blue Peter and Daybreak. And Blue Peter's like a kids show in this country. I don't know if it still airs, but its demographic is like probably 10 and under. So you see what I mean? They left Round and Round to like kind of the meh shows. Whereas they performed A Year Without Rain on Good Morning America, Ellen, and Lopez Tonight. Sounds like favoritism to me. Maybe it's also just knowing your audience. The marketing for this era was very similar to the Kiss and Tell era in terms of execution. Now though, we're going to fast forward to a little over a month. We're going to go all the way to October 20th. The A Year Without Rain tour has started in London at the Hammersmith Apollo. A great venue, may I say. It's actually where I saw Selena Gomez live in 2013. It was a very amazing show. I got to meet her, but sadly it wasn't with the Scene. It was just Selena Gomez. Still a great concert though. However though, the London date was the only European date on this tour. The rest of the tour visited America. The tour would tour. My commentary is insane, I know, but the tour would tour for the rest of 2010 into 2011. So this tour continued the ongoing promotion for the album, which worked quite well, as the tour was commercially and critically successful. And for the 2011 side of the tour, Selena promised an amazing show with an epic stage. I'm not quite sure if this was delivered on. I'm realising now I kind of forgot to look into that. Please forgive me. Editing Rebecca might come in and say something. In regards to the stage setup, look, I think it just depended on what the venue could offer. So looking into it, no, there wasn't like an extravagant difference between the first leg and the second leg, like the 2011 leg where Selena promised like a better stage and more effects and whatever. There really wasn't a difference in the legs of the tour. It really just came down to what the venue could offer. So me in the past did not have to worry about not researching for this, because there really wasn't much of a difference. The only difference was when she went back into like North America and Latin America, the venues were bigger, so she could get like bigger lights and more effects behind her, and like a jazzy little screen behind her that said Selena Gomez and the Scene. But there wasn't like anything going on with the staging. So, you know, that's all there is to that. The setlist for the tour once again was pretty great. London's setlist was Round and Round, Rock God, Kiss and Tell, More, Love is a Battlefield, Off the Chain, The Way I Loved You, Parachute, Cheryl Cole, Cover, A Year Without Rain, Mama Do, Pixie Lot cover, intuition falling down in my head and tell me something I don't know. Of course, I want to say as well, Pixie Lot had to be on the set list. I mean, back in 2010, 2011, she was kind of a big deal in the UK. She's kind of fallen off now. I don't know where a girlie is. She was also featured on When the Sun Goes Down. We'll get to that eventually, but I would argue though South America won the set list. London was robbed of, again, a You Belong With Me cover. She just didn't want the UK fans to get that. Again though, the encore never budged, and that was also consistently Naturally and Magic. On October 27th, 2010, the band played an acoustic set for charity. This was for UNICEF. I remember at the time there's a video of Selena singing A Year Without Rain with a little girl, and it's actually a really sweet moment. I think that video went quite viral back then, or it made the rounds on social media, but I really remember that, like it stuck with me. One of their last performances of the year was at the Jingle Ball on the 10th of December 2010. It was quite an iconic lineup, some may say, especially for the time, because they had Justin Bieber, Paramore, Miss Selena Gomez's influence, may I say, and Katy Perry, to name a few. See, I forgot to add this, and upon editing this, I realised I left this out, but the set list at Jingle Ball, they needed 5 songs. It was very short, and that's how it normally is at these, like, festival-y Jingle Ball performance places, you know. Same when we have, like, the Jingle Bell Ball here in the UK, artist or band will only get a select couple of songs. It's not like a proper concert. So they performed 5 songs. They did Round and Round, Off the Chain, Rock God, A Year Without Rain, and Naturally. Pretty solid set list, I would say. The band were nominated for Favourite Breakout Artist for the 2011 People's Choice Awards. This was an award they would take home, winning against Justin Bieber, Bruno Mars, Kesha, and B.O.B. During this same night, they also performed A Year Without Rain. Remember when I said Selena Gomez was booked and busy? I mean, the scene are included on this being booked and busy part, but Selena even more so because Wizards was still going at this point. But whilst they continued the final leg of the A Year Without Rain tour, on February 12th to the 13th, the band filmed the Who Says music video in LA. Sadly, Chris Dooley did not direct this time, but Hollywood Records wasted no time, as 2 days later, they confirmed a new album was in the works. You know what album I'm talking about. This album saved lives. It increased my life expectancy, and it gave everything. No crumbs were left. I was gonna say it gave I was gonna say that this album gave orphans something to call a mother, but I don't know if that's too far. Let's just slide past that. 2011 to 2012, When the Sun Goes Down. Era. This is definitely an era. This was definitely a moment. Another fun fact here, straight away, starting strong. The album was originally going to be called Other Side, but thank God they changed their minds on that one, because what is that? It's not iconic as what that is. Other Side? I'm glad that was not confirmed, or officialised, or authorised. Whoever said no to that one, that was iconic behaviour. That was not flop behaviour from you, bestie. On March 8th, 2011, the album's lead single, Who Says, had its world premiere on air with Ryan Seacrest. It was a critical success, but only really successful in the US. It peaked at number 21 on the Hot 100 chart. Worldwide, the song didn't do too badly. It was moderately successful. The song did become certified platinum though, and it was their second single to achieve this. I want to say though, Who Says deserved more respect. I think it should have charted everywhere. That song, the empowerment, we loved it. That's another one of their songs that still holds up today, and I think it's another timeless classic of theirs, Argue with the Wall. On November 22nd, 2011, Selena Gomez performed the song herself with Taylor Swift for her Speak Now World Tour in Madison Square Garden. The fans won again. What can I say? What I've done to see both of them perform that live would have been life-changing, just like the album was, but even more. But to hype up the song's music video, they released a 30-second teaser on March 9th. 2 days later, the music video premiered on Vivo. Fun fact though, is this the last one? Who knows? At the end of the Who Says music video, when Selena is being crowded by a bunch of kids, those are actually her fans. They just randomly called some fans down on that day and had them come and shoot the video with her. And it's adorable. Honestly, I believe this music video solved all the problems in the world, and we finally had world peace for like a day. Selena Gomez and The Scene did their first performance for this song at the 3rd annual Concert for Hope on March 20th, 2011. After this, they then went to perform the song on Ellen, Dancing with the Stars, and even So Random. This feels like such a core memory to me, and I don't know if anyone else remembers it. So I'm asking, does anyone else remember that? Because it's so vividly imprinted in my mind, I literally cannot forget that moment. It's So Random, the Disney Channel show, for anyone who's not aware, which was a spin-off of Sunny with a Chance whilst they weren't sure what was happening with Demi Lovato, as I think she was put into rehab at this time. I could have been wrong, so they did the spin-off So Random. But they would have musical guests perform on the show, and Selena was one of them for Disney Channel. It was like SNL, but for kids on Disney Channel. Around this time as well, Hollywood Records, they love their announcements. My goodness, they just said she was doing everything under the sun. But they announced that Selena Gomez and the Scene would be going on tour in the summer of 2011 in the US and Canada. It was the We Own the Night tour, and tickets went on sale in April of that year. I just want to say you guys won. What I would have done to see this album being performed live, I would have gone feral for tickets. I mean, in seriousness, I was like 11, so there wasn't much I could do about it, but I would have offered to give up like a limb to see this album performed live. This album still holds up today. This is the best album Selena Gomez and the Scene have put out. I'm not wrong. But speaking of tours, remember the Year Without Rain tour? That's finally over now. It came to an end on May 14th, 2011, so that era officially closed, officially over. We can officially embrace the We Own the Night tour, the When the Sun Goes Down era fully, like, moved to the side. We've got a new girlie in town. Selena then later went over onto her Twitter to announce that Bang 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 would be released as a part of an iTunes album countdown on June 7th, 2011. So that's when Bang 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 was going to be released. But again, like, with the old ways of marketing, imagine an iTunes album countdown now. Does iTunes even like have any weight in the music industry anymore? In an interview, Selena also let her fans know that the second single from the album would be Love You Like a Love Song. This era just kept giving and giving. And fans didn't have to wait long, as on June 17th, Love You Like a Love Song was available for digital download. This song is such a bop, and out of the band's discography, I think this one definitely has longevity and it stands the test of time. But let's also put A Year Without Rain and Who Says both onto this like longevity chart. It was their biggest single in the US. It peaked at number 22 on the Billboard Hot 100, and it stayed on the charts much longer than any of their other singles, and it got certified platinum. And as of today, Love You Like a Love Song is the band's most viewed music video. Just wanted to point out again though, that common theme here, the band is barely featured in the music video. It's honestly a little laughable. You can just about see them in the first 15 seconds as they are seated at a table with Selena, but the lighting around them is so dim they may as well not be there. I mean, it could be anyone. To be fair though, at around the 30-second mark, the camera is focused on them, but if you blink or sneeze, you'll miss it. I absolutely adored this music video though, and I still do. It definitely didn't help my bi panic, and I can't lie, I absolutely loved the Mother Gothel hairstyle she had going on in the karaoke bar segment. All of the looks in this though were impeccable, maybe minus the metallic lip look, but we ignore that, you know, we pretend I do not see. I don't know if it's an unpopular opinion, but I love the Shakespeare play inspired look she has in that white dreamy dress sequence. I think it really fits well with the song. What is quite funny though is the last scene in the meadow with the rainbow corset dress thing, that the sequins are back or the glitter or whatever it is. Selena said in an interview that her mum or dad were worried about it being too booby. But you know what? Free the titties, free the boobies. I totally get though why during that period of Disney and her getting older, how that could have been seen as like a riskier thing to wear or set piece. Circling back round to the Scene though, I swear this is the least amount of screen time they've ever gotten in one of their music videos, and I love how it came just after she said they were going to be like more incorporated into the things, but I think that was during the A Year Without Rain era, so we'll let her have a pass with that. But yeah, I find it funny that their biggest like acting in any music video or being included in any of the music videos was the Round and Round music video. That's the most the band was ever incorporated in one. June 28th, 2011 though marks the end of an era, because this is when their third and final album was released. It debuted at number 4 on the Billboard Hot 200, selling 78,000 copies, making it their biggest album to date. And then during its second week of release, the album bumped up to number 3 on the chart. The album is a total of 40 minutes and 1 second. I think it's hilarious that there's just that 1 second there hanging around, just sort of ruining the moment, because it'd been so cool just to have like a 40-minute album, just 40 minutes, but the 1 second's there. It had its time to shine. Another hilarious moment though, and spoiler, some may say, but the scene weren't involved in the album. Shocking, I know. Who would have guessed? Let's say it together. They're just a performance band. Again, not negating their talent, they were very talented in the live performances. But back to the album, it got some harsh reviews from critics, but I think all of the fans know this was the band's best album. They really went out with a bang. I mean, for instance, when we talk about the critics, Jodie, in the Rolling Stones article, said, Gomez may be the most boring teen pop star of her generation. Like, lady, I think you need to calm down. This was music for the girlies who got it. Clearly she didn't get it, but I will always defend this album. I loved this era so much, and this album served bop after bop. It didn't have to go that hard, but it did. I really don't have any negative things to say about this album. I really do believe it was their strongest piece of work they'd ever put out. Also wanted to add, Selena did a few more album signings again around this time, around the 5th of July. For instance, she came back to the UK to do a signing in the HMV store again. There wasn't a performance this time, but damn do I miss album signings. Reading about these album signings really gave me the nostalgia for that time period. If I was old enough, I would have gone to these, or hell, if I even knew it was happening, I would have loved to have attended, and I know my mum would have taken me. But I'm pretty sure these album signings were either announced like on Twitter or on the actual like HMV website, so like you had to be in the know to know. Still though, they were packed. They were rammed, all of her album signings. Moving on to the We Own the Night tour era. It took off on July 24th at Costa Mesta. I'm sorry if I'm really mispronouncing that. I feel like I butcher everything I say. The supporting acts were Christina Grimmie and All Star Weekend. Out of all their tours, this was their most intense tour in terms of workload, because this seemed like more of a traditional tour in the sense they were performing basically day after day, whereas the previous tours, they only had a couple of performances a month and then a week or two break. Honestly, that's probably healthier, but I don't know if Selena actually received like any break period in that time, because during those times she was probably like filming something else on those 2-week breaks. Again, there were 2 legs to this tour, like all of her other tours. There was a North America and Latin America leg, and altogether it consisted of 59 shows. I'm not gonna lie, when I saw the name Sean Desmond as a supporting act, I almost had a heart attack. I thought it said Shane Dawson, and I was about to throw up. Like, what's he doing here? Whilst on tour, they also performed Love You Like a Love Song at the Teen Choice Awards, and they also won the award for Choice Music Group and Choice Single. Also, can we acknowledge that Selena won 2 other awards this night as well, just on her own? She won Choice TV Actress in a comedy, and this one, a bit of a questionable category, but she won Choice Hottie. Now, I wouldn't disagree, but I think that's like a weird category to have. Okay, we all in agreement? Let's go. I remember Selena had to learn choreography for this performance in like an hour for the Teen Choice Awards. I also remember the scandal that the people at the Teen Choice Awards like didn't feed her. I don't know what was up with that, but hello? Selena said, and I quote, I've been working all day, rehearsing, figuring out what we're going to do, and they have given me no food. Can we have a chat with the organisers at the 2011 Teen Choice Awards immediately? How do you not have food? It's the bare minimum. Yes, they did give her an apple, but if I can provide a platter for a family gathering, I'm sure the Teen Choice Awards can sort out like a little buffet selection, or just like a selection of food for guests, just like snacky bits. I hope by now they've sorted that out, but I wouldn't be surprised, like this is Hollywood we're talking about. Wouldn't be surprised if they haven't done that. Later in the first leg of the tour, Selena Gomez and the Scene started filming the video for Hit the Lights, the song that would be the band's final single for both the album and the band. The video for Hit the Lights premiered on Vivo on November 16th, 2011. It was released as a single in January 2012, and sadly it was the flop of the album, as it really didn't make any impact, but I would argue it wasn't given a fair chance. At that point, fans were already used to the song, so was the world, as it was on the album, and it wasn't like it was an unreleased song like Who Says and Love You Like a Love Song were, so I would have liked to have seen how Hit the Lights would have performed on the charts had it been released before the album, but we'll never know. Selena described the song though as it's kind of one of those songs about living in the moment while keeping it a big huge summer dance track. Another funny moment though that I remember from this era was the little bit of controversy that Disney Channel's Good Girl said the word damn in the video, in the song. Crazy, I know. I find it funny that in America damn's a swear word, because that's not the same over here. But during January of 2012, the We Own the Night tour started on the second leg in Latin America. The first show of this leg was in Puerto Rico. There were 11 shows on this leg of the tour, and it came to an end on February 11th, 2012. However, I can imagine some fans were in pieces on this leg of the tour. At the beginning of this section of the tour, Selena announced the band would be going on hiatus. And every fan knows, no matter what fandom you're in, that's not what you want to hear. That's not something you want to hear. It's never good news. It almost always means that the band is over. To put even more fuel into this fire, Selena also announced that there would not be a new album for 2012. So, again, the fans were probably in pieces. I don't remember this announcement. Like, I never remember hearing this. Maybe it was so traumatic I wiped it from my memory, because I was a part of Selena Gomez's fan club. Hello. There's my official fan club thank you note. I've got the dog tag somewhere, I don't know where. So now this means that we are on to the end of Selena Gomez in the Scene. After the tour wrapped up, we can fast forward to the summer of the Teen Choice Awards, where, just to rub more salt in the wound, Selena Gomez in the Scene won Choice Music Group for the third year in a row. So, you know, not only did they win an award for being like Choice Music Group, but they were ending it all. Not in that bad way, but they were just like ending it. This was it for Selena Gomez in the Scene, even though they won Choice Music Group for the third year in a row. And another final nail in the coffin, if we can call it, was Selena accepting the award on her own at the show, whereas in the previous year the band also joined her on stage to accept the award, but that probably also could have been because they were performing with her. So maybe that's why they were there to accept it with her, because I mean the year before that they didn't accept the award with her for the first time they won Choice Music Group, it was just her. So who knows, but anyway, it wasn't a good look for fans. And then, to make matters even worse, during the Scene's performance for UNICEF in 2012, Ethan announced his departure, or Selena did. Someone announced that Ethan was leaving. So if you weren't already convinced that the hiatus wasn't going to be the end of the Scene, you probably were now. Ethan was replaced by Drew Taubenfield or Tabenfield. I'm so sorry. I can't pronounce a single thing is what I'm realising. But anyway, I won't lie, I'm mad he didn't get the best deal, because the Scene didn't really do many more performances at this time. So he only did a handful of performances with the band. I honestly have no memory of this Manzi. I'm so sorry. Either way, after all of this, after the end of the We Own the Night tour and Selena's announcement, the Scene haven't released any new music. However, whilst the band was basically officially over it, we did get one last performance from them in 2013 at the UNICEF concert. I think this was an absolutely amazing concert and performance from Selena, and it was quite the way to go out with a bang. The only thing about this concert though is we didn't have all 4 of the OG members of the Scene. We got 3. The only one missing is Ethan, but I think Ethan was like kind of an iconic member of the Scene. I mean, again, his performance in Round and Round. Also just he was that kind of guitarist with the emo hair. I respected him on so many levels, okay? At this point though, you could argue that this doesn't count as a Selena Gomez and the Scene performance, but I would argue that it is. Maybe because it brings me comfort, I don't know. But I still look back at this concert and I can't fault it. The setlist consisted of Round and Round, A Year Without Rain, Rock God, I Knew You Would Trouble's Taylor Swift cover, Bang Bang Bang, Dream, another cover, Hey Ho, featuring Alex and Nat Wolff from the Naked Brothers band, Hello Nickelodeon Disney Channel crossover. Hey Ho was a Lumineers cover though. Then they did Hit the Lights, Cry Me a River, Justin Timberlake cover, Baby One More Time Britney Spears cover, and that was a moment. She nailed that cover. Who Says, Naturally, Love You Like a Love Song, and that was it. But that was an iconic set list. They got a Britney and Taylor cover in one night. The set list just got better and better as they went on, and it's such a shame that this is like their last ever performance, because this, in my eyes, was the last performance of Selena Gomez in the Scene. I mean, it hurts my soul that Ethan wasn't there for this one, because it was such a great performance, and I think it would have been even more wonderful if he was there for this, but I get it, you got to move on with your life and do other things. Cannot believe I forgot to mention, like, where they are now. My mind, she's not awake. Anywho, this is where they are now. Selena, we know she is thriving with Rare Beauty and Only Murders in the Building. I love Rare Beauty and Only Murders in the Building. A girlie is doing things right. Joey at the minute though is in a band called Midwest Kings where he plays bass, and I said at the minute, I don't know if he still is, but that's the last thing I could find about him. Drew is now a musical director and works with lots of bands and artists. Greg is apparently in a band called Filter. They're a rock band, and Ethan is now producing music and I believe writing music too. Some of the songs he's worked on have been in Apple ads, Maybelline ads and Samsung ads, so Manty's doing pretty alright. He also had a song in the Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard trailer starring Ryan Reynolds, and he also had a song in Tall Girl the movie and the TV show MacGyver. Manty's everywhere, you don't even know it. And in regards to Dane, I believe he just composes for TV and film at the minute. I don't really know what he's worked on. It's kind of hard to find things about some of these guys, like it's just very low key. But yeah, that's where they are now. I hope they're all doing well, and that's that with the scene. But yeah, that's a wrap for this deep dive into Selena Gomez and the Scene, the band's history from start to finish. This was honestly such an iconic era, and I truly loved being a fan of this band back in the day. Those days were so exciting. I loved being part of the fan club, making all my friends on the fan club. I still talk to some people from the fan club, like here and there, like we're still in contact. We follow each other on Instagram, it's very cute. And I mentioned it earlier, but I finally did get to see Selena Gomez live in 2013, but sadly it wasn't with the Scene. Either way, it was an amazing concert. Let me know what your favourite era of the Scene was, and I'll see you in the next one.